Well, let me set the chat up, and I think I need to do live chat. I think I need to loosen this up slightly and crank this down. Let's see. I'm trying to loosen this. So there's no one here yet, so I'm still setting up. Well, while I'm doing this, hey! Trying to crank this down a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I just shot the video about your knives. It's going up today. I'm about to sharpen this. I'm gonna do it in the kitchen, even though it's against the rules. Mainly because, yes, the sun is out now, as you can see, but it just stopped raining. So I did not get my bar stool slid under, and so the cushion is soaked, and I've got it sitting in the sun. And I do have a new tripod. So we're gonna talk about some kitchen knives, and since I'm getting ready to sharpen his, I thought it'd be a good idea. One of the things with kitchen knives is that you gotta be kinda, I see guys do these kitchen knives, and there are knives for specific purposes that you can get away with this. I see them cutting them too thin. The edge on them is too thin. And so, unless you're dealing with a specific knife like a sushi knife or something like that, you can run into some problems with it being too thin. The sushi knife is a really slow cut down through the meat and things like that, or a sashimi knife, or however you want to look at it. It's for cutting the raw fish. But the problem is when you start getting into knives that are like multi-purpose use, and you're going to be chopping and things like that, because chopping, you're impacting your cutting board, your cutting surface. A lot of people have pretty hard cutting boards that they're doing. So I just thought I would touch on the edge that I use for a kitchen knife, because I happen to feel that it's better for a multi-purpose knife like this Santoku, which is a Japanese style chef's knife. This needs a bit more of a, this needs sharpened too. I may as well just set that on the counter. It needs a little bit steeper edge than what I see some of these people doing. I see some people sharpening kitchen knives and they get them so thin. Like, I mean, if you're just wanting to show your sharpening ability, like Ben's knives, when he was cutting tissue, I personally don't think that an edge fine enough and thin enough to do a good, like you were slicing, I really don't see it as being functional for a kitchen knife where you're gonna be doing chopping and you're cutting through harder materials, and like if you're cutting carrots, you're snapping through that material and you're hitting the cutting board. So you gotta have a little bit more robust edge. But while I'm doing this, let me get this all figured out. I did a video about half-face blades. What the hell is all this? Anyway, I did a video about half-face blades a little bit ago. I shot it. It's going to prepare at 3 o'clock my time. So just thought I would clear that out there in case you guys are interested in watching that. I need to put a towel down. I need to grab one of my dirty towels. So give me just a second. I can grab one of the dirty towels from out there. Chris can't wait to see that video. Yeah, it's coming out. It's your knives. So, with kitchen knives, I can't use my little small stones, especially when you start getting past, the length of the blade really does start restricting you if you use those small stones like I do. It really does. Let me crank you down. Oh, nope, that's up. This one has a crank for the height adjustment. So, you can get away with a shorter knife. If you guys don't remember, this kitchen knife got broke and I turned it into a Santoku. This was a French style or a European style kitchen knife, and I reground it and turned it because I broke the tip off of it. So let's see, let's get, oops. Let's get into that and we'll start talking about it. So anyway, this is Nico's kitchen knife. I am going to do a video about this knife because I really like it. I like Shun knives. They're made by Kai, so basically it's the same company that It's the same company as ZT and Kershaw and all those. They are really nice knives. So with a kitchen knife that size, I need to use these stones. My bench size water stones to do it. So the kitchen knives, yeah, kitchen knives have got some rigors that they go through that you're probably not going to put other knives through, specifically because of the way they get used. Hey, what's up? So yeah, I'm gonna try and the edge on this was okay, but it just like when I felt it, I was like, that's an awful thin edge. It started getting some chipping and things like that on this knife of Nico's, and so I decided it might just make sense to just steepen up that angle a little bit. These stones soaked overnight and they are still a little bit drier than I want them. And I have straight razors to do, but I really wanted to get this done. So where are we at here? Who all's here? I see I got 18 people. Let's start seeing who said what. Alex, you made it. Think of Shin. Let's see. Can't wait to see the video. The ceramic stones, yeah, I've used them. The problem is, like, the other thing I was gonna say is a lot of people put too fine of an edge on a kitchen knife. They go up too high in grit, which I'm cool with on a lot of knives, but for a kitchen knife, especially a multi-purpose knife, you gotta kind of know what you're gonna be cutting. So if you're predominantly gonna cut meat, my cat just threw up. God damn it. I just heard her throwing up in the background. So if you're predominantly going to cut meat, you're going to want a different edge than if you're cutting like harder things like vegetables and things like that. You get what I'm saying? Different knives have different purposes. A multi-purpose knife, which I'm sure that's what this is going to be, is going to get kind of the middle of the road grit. Let me get this cat out. Kaya, or Tiger, go out. Hey, come here. Tiger, go out before you throw up again. I heard her throwing up, but I don't know where, so I gotta go find that and clean it up. So with kitchen knives, I stick closer to, you know, if I know I wanna cut a lot of meat, especially cooked meat, raw meat, cooked meat, they cut a little bit different. I'm gonna leave a toothier edge on a multi-purpose knife versus something that would be specifically for, say you had a knife that was specifically for vegetables. That edge I may need to make it a little bit finer, but not too fine. You can do a polished toothy edge, like I've said, like I've proven, but after that edge is done and then it gets maintenance, that's where you can run into some problems. People might strop them too much, and then, you know, then it gets burnished off, and then you're not getting the cutting power you want out of that. So the other thing too is, I can do it. I don't know how many other people are out there that actually do it, but I bias the knives. So I know that Nico is not left-handed. This is gonna have a right-hand bias for him to cut properly. If I was doing this knife for Matt, I would do it the other way. And that's just simply that the edge is just ever so slightly kicked over one way or the other to facilitate the better cutting for a right or left-handed person. Not to where it's perceivable, but just enough that you can feel it. I think I'm gonna use the other stone. I don't like the way that stone feels on this steel. So, I posted on Instagram that the video is coming out at 3. This stone is just a little bit hard. It's a little bit finer, but it's a little bit harder, and it lets me get the angle I want on it without feeling it's biting into the stone. That stone's always been a little bit softer. I'm not really 100% happy with that 600 grit side of that stone. So, let's see, 21 people here. Let's talk about it. But anyway, kitchen knives, they a lot of times can be expensive when you send them to me, because a lot of people, there's a lot of people that wait until their knife won't cut anymore to think about sending things in. And then they're like, well, what do you mean it's going to cost like 35 bucks? Well, I was like, you know, chip repair and removal and reprofiling that edge. And I've had some that the whole blade's been bent, and they're like, well, you can't just fix it. I was like, yeah, no, it's not quite that easy, guys, to do stuff the way some people want it. But so yeah, I stick close to about 3,000 grit on kitchen knives, especially for something that's a multi-purpose utility style kitchen knife. Like Nico's probably going to use this. But what happens when people go too fine and they don't, like I said, I've gotten to a point where I can do a really fine edge that still bites, but there's a technique and tools to that. And so some people will get a kitchen knife and they, what was that, Nico? As much as possible, what? A really nice Shinchis knife that I ruined the edge on pull before I discovered your videos. As much as possible. So there's a point where you send me a knife and it's like all screwed up, and then people are like, I can't, why so much? I'm like, it's not as simple as just putting it on a stone. This is a brand new edge, and I'm still having to do some correction on this knife. It's not horrible. It's definitely better than a lot of the ones I get that come in, but it's still has some weirdness towards the tip, and I get that. It happens, especially with the longer a knife is and the short. So if there's a Goldilocks zone for knives, and I found that the Goldilocks zone is between 3 and 7 inches. The shorter the knife is, the smaller the knife, the more difficult it actually becomes to sharpen. Maintaining your angles feels weird because the distance from here to here is different. So that would be about right there. But when you get past that, or we get shorter from about 3 inches, 3 inches to about 7 inches. That's the Goldilocks zone where it's really easy for me to sharpen, and for most people to sharpen. But when you get past that and you get into longer blades like this, I don't measure anything by degrees, so about that much. It's just become a feel thing. So, like I was saying, there's a Goldilocks zone. So when you start getting, that's a larger blade. This is almost a Wharncliffe style. It's flat. This has a curve to it. So when you get past that and then you start to do that big curve, it can get challenging sometimes. I don't think I sharpen stuff to 37. That's a bit steep, but I'm probably right around, yeah, maybe about 17 per side. I should probably put an angle block on one time when I'm sharpening and just see, but like I said, especially with a knife that is going to be multi-purpose use, you want to find that fine, you kind of want to be in the middle. You don't want it too shallow, you don't want it too steep. You don't want it too coarse, you don't want it too fine. And when I say too fine, I'm saying because there's people that are using systems out there that allow them to get that edge burnished off. Especially if you're using like a paper wheel or a powered sharpener, you can really burnish it off too much. I have to be real careful and remind myself of what I'm doing when I do my neck knives, and then I power strop them on that leather. There's a happy medium. Leaving enough tooth to cut and not burnishing it off to the point where it's not sharp anymore. And so that's why I think for those knives that leather strop works pretty well. So, but I think I needed to flatten these anyway before I did straight razors, so it just made sense to do this kitchen knife and Nikos first. I do have 2 straight razors to do, but they can wait a little bit. I gotta flatten these stones anyway. They had some nicks in them, so 15 minutes. Now, this might take a little longer for me to do any reprofiling on, because it's only a 1,000 grit stone. Well, I think we got it where we want it. I've taken off, this had a pretty thin edge. Had a pretty thin edge, and I think we've got it reprofiled back to what I want. It had a couple chips too, and I've gotten those rectified. A couple little minor rolls, little chips. It happens with kitchen knives because a lot of times they're really thin. This knife is thinner, or is the same thickness as this, but this knife has been ground from this point all the way up. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Alex works at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. So, and there's some inconsistencies in the grind, but like when you have the broader the blade, the thinner it's going to be behind the edge. This is significantly thinner behind the edge than my Santoku because of the way it was ground and the width of the blade. So let's go ahead and we'll switch. I think we're going to do it on this stone and then be done. I want to see, I can always, since Nico comes down fairly regularly, I can always tell him, you know, hey, if you want it a little bit finer, I can always go a little bit. But, oh, Nico, I need you to, when I get off of here, I'm going to get in touch with you. Don't worry about trying to come down for Friday. Yakov doesn't get here till Saturday morning. He got his dates mixed up, so. Well, sir, that's how convenient. I need you to text me your address. I have your knife here, and I was going to ship it off, and I can't find the slip that you sent me. So, pretty sure you've got my phone number somewhere. I can't find it. I don't know what I did with that piece of paper you sent me with your address and shit on it. So, he's gonna be here for 10 days, Yakov will be. So Saturday, don't bother trying to come down Saturday because I've got so much stuff going on Saturday. And then he's coming with me to a birthday party with me and Isabel and Yuka. So he's gonna come with us Saturday to that birthday party at my friend Dennis's house, the Russian boxer. So that's gonna be fun. It's the one that you guys saw, the Christmas video where Roger and Dennis had that massive, like 25-foot tall tree. So we may shoot video of that, but it's Isabel's friend Matilda's birthday, Dennis's daughter. So we're gonna go be there. So. So I would imagine next Friday? They were, somebody refresh my memory how much the shirts were. I think they were 20 or 25, I don't remember. I think I have one left. I have one shirt left. So, love my videos. Good, I'm glad. Okay. What time is it? Guess what, guys? It's that time of day. It is beer o'clock. So, like I said, I have the new, what is this? What is that? Somebody said. Well, then show my videos to your bosses at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and maybe we can work something out where I offer a service that they provide to their customers. It's a good idea. Just have them get in touch with me. I'm up for anything. It's not like I can do mass amounts of sharpening. That's not true. That's not true. I have done, well, our friend Jesse was in town. Thank you, B. Our friend Jesse was in town from Arizona, Pip Corona, and while we were drinking coffee, I sharpened 5 of his knives. I mean, it's not like I can do like 100 knives a day and shit, but... Okay, and here's to touch on something. Somebody mentioned, again, and they've said it to me a couple times, that I should get a Tormek and lower my sharpening price to $15. And there's 2 reasons I'm not going to do that. Well, their ballast song still had the wave feature. So there's 2 reasons I'm not going to do that, which, I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad idea. It could be a doable thing. 2 reasons. I don't like the edges you get from a Tormek. There's the first reason. I don't like it. It's not as consistent as everybody makes out. They do a good job. They are probably the best powered sharpening system out there. No chance of overheating. It's a stone, so you're getting a consistent edge finish. It's stuff like that. But the flip side of that is the edges are not as good and crisp as I would like. And for me to spend the money, to buy a system that they're expensive. They're like $700-800 for, yeah, but I don't worry about overheating the blades doing it by hand, Mick. So for me to expend that money and then lower my price is kind of silly. I've now spent money. I'm not sure I'm going to recoup. I'm not sure that it's not going to be the same level of what everybody expects from my company. And then it's going to cheapen what I do. And yeah, could I maybe get more knives done? Maybe. I mean, I would have to, I really don't think I could. So I really don't see the value in that. Like if I had a devoted customer base of like chefs that just wanted their knives sharpened every week, then it might be a reasonable investment for me, just because their knives, they would not want such a time, because I mean, they just want it fixed, touched up, fixed, touched up, fixed. And so that would be something that I could see if that were to happen, if I started getting such a consistent customer base on that. But I don't really like, I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the storage area. I don't like the power usage. I don't like the fact that I can't necessarily, all right, Alex, you have a good day, that I can't just do it like this. And then the angles are difficult to work out and control. And there's a lot of technique that goes into it. I know you guys have probably seen the Tormek videos, and they seem simple to use, but the people you see using them have been using them for a while. I love the way VG10 sounds at the edge. There's something about VG10. So this is VG10 Damascus, and I have completely reprofiled that angle. It's a little bit steeper, but it's a really thin blade. So thin blade, thin edge, not a good combo. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to kind of talk about that while I was doing this. I am going to do a video about this knife. I might shoot it today, but it will not go up until tomorrow. I need to go upstairs and I've got to edit that music on that video that I just finished. But I thought you guys would like to hang out while I did Nico's knife real quick. As soon as the sun dries off that cushion on that bar stool, I will be sharpening some more stuff that came in. So hand edges rule the world if they're done well. I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's going to be backwards, but when you watch the thing. So Mattia, hang on a second, let me turn it around for you. Mattia sold this to Nico at the show in Vegas. If you guys do not follow him, he works with Beg Knives. You probably should. He does some really good looking stuff. So I like Mattia. Mattia is a great guy. I'm gonna do a video about this and get it out. But Nico, your knife's sharp. I'm gonna strop it up. I didn't, Nico did. So, like I said, like I said in the video, it's like a kitchen buoy. But the thing is, when you get up in it, even the way this kicks back, like, it's one of my complaints about this knife. I've many times cut myself because I slip up and I hit that and I'm like, oh, fuck, that cut me. It's really hard to slip up past that. And you can get it, I don't know about a cunt hair, but it'll pop a beard hair. It still needs strop though too, so. Yeah, the design on this is great. The handle swells right where it needs to. That cutout keeps you from sliding up and over. You can index without getting your finger on it. Come forward and you know that that's there. Nice and wide. Got a lot of belly for the rock on that. And like I said, it's just sexy as fuck, guys. And he even put the logo of his hometown of Florence in it. So, all right, guys, that's it for right now. Meet up with me at 3 p.m. my time for the video that's going up. This is the end of the live feed. I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna try and make sure. So you guys know the music at the beginning, it doesn't always render. So it's hit or miss. Sometimes the music's done and it doesn't render in HD. So you get the music, but then it's all grainy and potato quality. Sometimes the HD will render, but you don't get the music. So it's one of those things that you're like, what the fuck? What is wrong with this formula that I'm trying to do? So, yeah, I'm gonna give it a test run. The other thing I like about this is it's ground clear down. That's not like a bolster that's like attached to the metal. That's ground out. It's fucking, this thing's awesome. You guys are gonna see it in a video. I really like this knife. So, thanks, Mike. Have a great day. All right, guys, that's it. I will talk to you all later. I'm ending this. Bye.